Yo guys, what's up? What's up? This is Gigs Beat, aka Authentic Mix. So today, I want to take this opportunity and go through some of your comments. I just want you guys to know that I do read your comments and then explain a few things because I feel like there is a little bit of misunderstanding, and sometimes people do get things wrong. But it might not be wrong, but for me, I feel like these are things that we can correct, and these are mentalities that we can work on. So I would like to go to the last video that I released and see some of the comments and explain if there will be a need for me to open some plugins and explain a few things. I will. So every comment is equally important, okay? But the reason why I'm doing this is simply because I'll select some of the comments is simply because we can't do everything today. So I just want to use today to explain a few comments on my last video. So let me see. Let me read some of the comments. So someone said, please, when you started mixing, sorry, the vocals, did you leave the output as stereo while mixing and then send them to a vocal bus after you were done with them, or you send all vocals to a bus before you start mixing each vocal channel? So for me, I treat every vocal track the same. I just want them to feel, I just want the voltage and the signal coming into my vocal bus to have the same voltage. So let's say if track 1 the vocals is loud, track 2 the vocals is not loud, and I put compression on my bass, the signal from the separate tracks coming into the bass is different. So they are not hitting the mix bass compressor, sorry, not the mix bass, the vocal bass compressor the same at the same voltage, which of course is a problem. So that is the reason why I compress every single track in the vocals for the vocals, then I will send them to my vocal bus. So if that's what you mean, if that's the what you mean, and I mostly mix my vocals in stereo. If I have the vocals in mono, I would mix it in mono. So let me read another one. Someone says, wish you could share more knowledge on the God Particle plugin. So with the God Particle plugin, it's a plugin created by Jason Joshua. Let me show you God Particle plugin. This is the God Particle plugin. So this plugin was created by Jason Joshua, one of the topmost mixing engineers in the world. He has a lot of big songs to his credit, and he created this plugin. So he created this plugin from his mix bus chain. So he had a couple of plugins on his mix bus. Then he emulated those ones into this plugin, just one single plugin that can do everything. So that is how come this plugin came into existence. So this is more of a multi-band saturation and a limiter. I think those are the most important models or plugin or techniques people use on their mix bus: compression, limiting, and saturation. These are the 3 things most people use on their mix bus. So that is what this plugin is. It has compression, EQ, and limiting. Also, it has, I think it has a little bit of saturation going on under the radar. So that is the concept of this plugin. So you don't need to put separate compressor, separate multi-band compression, separate limiting, or separate saturation. You can literally only use this plugin on your mix bus, then you mix your song into it, and you are good. So that is it's about God particle plugin. So let me read another one. It said, can you do a mixing tutorial for FL Studio, please? Okay, so the difference in the DAWs, I don't really have problem with people mixing in all different DAWs and stuff, because I have a couple of mixes that I've done in Pro Tools. I have a couple of mixes in Cubase. I have mixes in Logic Pro as well. I think I've mixed a couple of songs in FL Studio too back then. I have mixing in a lot of DAWs. I know how to use most of the DAWs simply because the most important thing is the theory and your technique as a mixing engineer. You have sorry to say, you have your way of mixing, you have your technique, you have your go-to styles that you use. So the most important thing is learning the DAWs. If you learn the DAW, you learn the ins and outs of every DAW. Let's say the workflow. The workflow is what varies from DAW to DAW. So the workflow in Pro Tools is different from the workflow in Logic Pro X. Sometimes you need a few steps more to create your bass. In Logic Pro might be easier. So it's just those things. So if you want to know how to mix, you literally just have to know how to mix using your plugins, and you can mix in any DAW. The approach is mostly the same. For me, when I mix across DAWs, the approach is the same, just that every DAW have their own workflow, especially how to create your bass, how to route things and all those stuff, shortcuts. Once you learn all these things, you can be able to navigate around every DAW, and once you use the same approach, you can mix anywhere. So I think people should also look into that, and it will help. But I'll try and do one video in FL Studio so that maybe you guys will understand. But I mixed Kwame Eugene's Monica in Cubase because that's what he used to record, and he sent me the session in Cubase. He mostly wants his vocals to feel the way he recorded it, because he also has a vocal chain that he uses to record. Sometimes he doesn't want to change too much, so that is why I didn't want to export or bounce every single track as stem and send it to Pro Tools or Logic to mix. I just did what I was supposed to do just in Cubase and just moved on. So that is this. Let me move on to another comment. You say, boss, please, do you export mix leaving the mix bus plugins on the mastering, or you remove the plugins? Okay, so I don't know why I'll mix into a mix bus, then I'll remove the mix bus when I'm done with the mix. When you are mixing into a mix bus, don't forget that whatever processing is on your mix bus, every signal that you send into your mix bus, the voltage and everything changes if you bypass the mix bus processing. So you don't have to remove your mix bus plugins if you're done mixing. You are done with the mixing. Your mix bus is actually how your mix sounds. You understand? You can even mix a whole project without applying plugins on the separate tracks, and your mix bus can be the only plugins or the only thing doing the magic. So I don't think it's necessary for you to bypass the plugins. So the only thing that I do is I don't export the song so loud to the extent that I don't have headroom to master. So on the God Particle plugin, you see that this limiter here, I don't use the default dB is 5 dB when you load the plugin, but I can use like 2 or 1, 3 at most, so that when I go to mastering, I will not do so many things. I will just do something small and I'm done with the song. So how you mix determines how you master. You understand? I think that should be the conversation. How you mix is how you master. So if my mix is is loud and doesn't have too much saturation, if my mix has compression already, if my mix bus has all these things, then meaning when I go to mastering, I don't need to do too much of compression, or I don't need to do compression at all. So you just have to literally understand what you are doing, especially when it comes to mix bus processing and mastering. Mix bus processing is not the same as mastering, but you can have a mix bus processing that when you export you export your mix, that is all. You don't have to do extra mastering. That is when you are mixing very hot and you are mixing very loud. So there are so many techniques that we are going to learn as time goes on. So I don't bypass my mix bus processing when I go to master. My mastering is not nothing crazy these days. It's just one plugin, then I'm done. We are going to talk about that one later. So that is it. Let me go to another comment. I will not do all the comments. I'll just do one or two things. It said, please, what difference does it make using stereo plugins instead of mono plugins? So mono plugins and stereo plugins, they are the same plugins, but they work differently. So how you would know if they truly sound different or they truly do different things is especially when you put them on effect signals, like let's say reverbs and delays. So you can insert, let's say mono EQ on a stereo reverb, and you will see that the signal will change. So mostly when you are mixing vocals, when you put them in stereo or mono, for me, I don't really hear the difference. I don't know if somebody does hear the difference, but I don't really hear the difference too much, especially when it comes to vocals. But there are some things when you put them in stereo and mono, you hear it, especially your melodic instruments, your bass, one or two signals that when you put them in stereo and mono, you really do hear it. So these are some things you should practice. Put a mono plugin on a stereo signal like keyboard, or let's say reverb, and see if the signal doesn't change from mono to stereo. Then you realize that if the signal is a mono signal, you should use a mono plugin. If the signal is a stereo signal, you should use a stereo plugin. So it's not really crazy like that. You just have to experiment and see how it really sounds. Let me read another comment. So somebody don't understand bass. Say, "I bass question mark. I do not understand. Can you make a video instructing each one?" So bass is simply like a group of people in one basket. That is how bass is. Let's like if you are sitting in a bus is passenger means of transport, and we have more than one persons on a bus, which makes it a bus. But if it's not a private car, that you can have just one person. So a bus is just like a bus that we know, which has different people on board. So a bus in music or a bus in mixing, it's a group of signals coming into one particular channel. So all your vocal signals, your vocal tracks, if you have 15 vocal tracks, they come to one particular bus, one particular group, or one particular channel. You understand? I think I don't have to talk much about that one. It's a group of signals coming into one particular chain or one particular signal, one particular channel. That channel is called a bus or a group. So I think I've explained my mix bus, and that would be all for now. Catch you up next time. I'm trying to figure out a way to do Monica mixing breakdown. Cubase is not allowing me. The moment I switch to OBS to record the screen, everything just slows up. I don't know why. I'll try my best to find a way to do this for you guys, and catch you up soon.